Shalom, brothers and sisters from around the world. I'm glad to be here with you guys today, sharing this heart-to-heart connection. Okay, today I'm here with an important message. This video will not be like my previous videos where I'm sharing personal things, but I'm channeling today and I'm sharing a message from the Most High, Yahweh. Okay, and so I don't take no credit. For anything that you hear from me today, I take no credit. I am only doing what I feel called to do, okay? And if you are black like myself, you will want to really hear this message because it involves you, okay? And on that note, just want to say this video is going to be a little bit longer, so I ask you guys to bear with me and be patient. But I will just say, this is not a history class, so I will not be going in depth today. Into some of these details, but I would like to in future videos, okay? So I advise that you do your own research and your own inner searching, as always, okay? But on that note, black people, for some time, we have been picked on, right? No matter what side of the globe you come from. By the way, our people has been pulled from our roots. We have been broken apart and we have been scattered around the globe. Okay, everywhere you go around the globe, there will be black nations. Okay, but we're really one kingdom. But then you will see there's different black nations that have settled into different parts of the globes, like the South Indians in Southern Asia. Okay, they're black people, but now they reside in that land, and you will find a lot of them there if you go to South Asia. A lot of Dravidian people, okay? And you will find a lot of black people in the Philippines. You'll find a lot of black people in Australia, right? You'll find a lot of black people, of course, naturally in Africa. You'll find a lot of black people, and not just black people. I'm not just saying that we're a people you find 1, 2, 3 here, there, but we're nations, okay? Like Australians, they're mainly black people. Southern Indians, they're mainly black people. Where else? There's a lot of black people in Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of black people in Iran, Afghanistan, so on, so forth. Okay, because these lands, they were once based heavily with our people. Okay, but the Europeans from Central Asia, right, Turkestan, Kazakhstan, Russia, so on and so forth, in the past, these people, the nomads, the Turks, what's it called, the Khazars, and all these different forms and groups, right, they have conquered our nations in the past, and they have stolen our identity, okay? Because the people that we know as Jews today, they're not real Jews. And a lot of people know this today. A lot of people understand that they're European, but they believe that they're the chosen, the lost tribe of Judah in the Bible. They believe that they're children of Israel, and they are not, sadly. But a lot of them probably don't know because their ancestors have done this wickedness. They have conquered our people and stolen our identity, okay? But these people, they come from Europe. The black people, right, we are from the 12 tribes of Israel, right? But as I said, the black kingdom is large, okay? It's vast. God told Abraham, which Abraham was black, Abraham was not light-skinned, right? He told Abraham, I didn't mean light-skinned because I'm light-skinned. There's a lot of folks that were mentioned in the Bible that was, I'm sure, my skin color. But I meant white skin. Abraham was not white skin like they make him seem, okay? Like a lot of the Arabs you will see today in Saudi Arabia, right? That the people that you see on the media, the royal family, the people today in North Africa, those Arabs, they're Europeans. They're not Arabs, okay? They're not actual Arabs. The Arab people, they're black people, okay? They reside a lot in Africa today, and they reside even still in like I said, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, so on and so forth. Okay, but again, Abraham was black, and God told to him, he said, look up at the stars, count how many stars that you can see, and that will be that the stars in number would be your seeds, your children. Okay, and so the black kingdom is a large kingdom. Now, if you are Mesoamerican, if you are like a Native American, Mesoamerican, you are black. Okay, if you are from Africa, of course you're black. If you're from any of those places that I just mentioned, except for Central Asia and their province, Chinese, Japanese, which are sons of Japhet, because Noah had 3 children. He had Shem, Ham, and Japhet. Okay, so to give you some examples of their lineage, the children of Shem, they reside today in India. They reside today in Africa, so on and so forth. And the children of Ham, they were really dark-skinned people. Okay, those are your Somalians. Those are your Dogon people in Africa. Those are your Beja people. Those are your Hausa people. Okay, who still share a lot of the Egyptian practices. Okay, and how I know this, I actually learned from a well-learned man. His name is Ronald Dalton. Okay, if you're listening to this, I suggest that you check out his movies or read his books. Okay, his movies is on Amazon. His books as well as is on Amazon. Okay, you could rent his movie for about $11. It's very affordable, and I think it's for the knowledge and information that he shares. It's a steal. Okay, but I'm just grateful that he cares about his black brothers and sisters and wants to see us spiritually advance. Okay, and so now, why this interests me is because as we are chosen people, if you look at all of our brothers and sisters from around the globe, whether you look in Australia, whether you look in India, whether you look in Mesoamerica, from Brazil, North America, and whether you look in the Philippines, whether you look wherever you want to look, where the black nation has laid their flag. Okay, wherever they have laid their flag, you will see that these people, they're really spiritual people, and coincidentally, almost all of the mysteries in the world today, from the Kailash temples, which still is very under talked about. Many people, if you look up the Kailash temples and read about this thing and how archaeologists look at it up and down and don't even know where to start from how it was built, you will realize that our ancestors, they were great. Giza pyramids, these people were great. Teotihuacan, the pyramid that was built in Mesoamerica, in San Juan, right? These people were great. Okay, the Olmecs, they built those really large heads in Rapa Nui, so on and so forth. You will realize that, again, almost all of the ancient mysteries, it comes from black people. We are naturally spiritual people, so it kills me today to see that black people have lost touch with spirituality. It hurts my heart, because we're naturally spiritual people, but we've been given these different doctrines and things like that, right? In the Bible, they change the real Messiah's name, Yeshua, right, to Jesus, because J was not a letter. J is actually a relatively new letter. Before J, it was I, right? And in the real Hebrew scriptures, it's Y. I'm learning Hebrew right now, so I can tell you this firsthand, okay? And so, even God's name, it says in the Bible to call God by His name. And if anybody, you could do this right now. Download Bible Hub on your phone and read the Bible, the Torah, right? Which is the Old Testament in Hebrew, and you will see that God's name is Yahweh, right? It comes from the Tetragrammaton, right? And Many people in today, like in the different Christian doctrines, they call him Jehovah, or if you are a Rastafarian, you call him Jah. But the J is kind of mistaken with the Y, right? That's why they say hallelujah, because Hallel means, it means to praise or to boast about your God. Okay, it's an old term. It means to praise and to boast about your God, right? And Yah means praising and boasting about my God, Yah. Okay, Yahweh is God's true name, and I know many of you who are watching this. If you're checking me out right now, and if you're still here, you probably already understand a lot of this. So shout out to you. Keep spreading your message. Keep sharing your light, because people need to know and they need to hear this. Some may be offended, but it's okay, because I do believe since a lot of since different the Europeans, they know this. Okay, the white people, they know this, and some of them, they have agendas, and they don't want the prophetic scriptures to continue to unfold, because they know the havoc that's about to reckon in this age that we're dawning into, because we're moving into the age of Aquarius. You could watch. I have three actually videos on this, and you'll see about it. Okay. Um, but yeah, they know what's going down. So a lot of them, they may either be offended, or they may be upset that we're waking up to this knowledge. Okay, and so on that note, I cannot help but to believe that, again, we are chosen people, and it's not because I know it says it in the Torah, and it's been in many different scriptures and prophecies, but it makes me just think that there's something bigger behind this, and that's what I've even been coming to through understanding the Torah. Okay, because I believe that since we've been cut off from our ancestry, we don't know the whole story in its full extent. All right, but the Torah, it comes from I believe a lot of the stories in the Torah, it comes from Mesopotamia, or it comes from the Sumerians. All right, and they're epic with the three gods, Enlil, and Enki. Enlil and Anu. Anu is their father. Enki and Enlil are brothers. Okay, but long story short, these extraterrestrials, right, who are kin to us, they were a lot larger than us. Some say they're reptilian-like, but there's not any real clarification as far as what they look like. But I do believe that they could have been reptilian-like, based on a lot of the intuitive dreams that I've been having myself. Okay. And that's hence where the serpent could come from in the Bible. And coincidentally, it seems that the serpent is in many of the black nations that I told you guys about. Shiva, if you look at Shiva, Shiva is depicted with snakes around him. He's part of the Trimurti. If you look into the Egyptian culture, snakes, cobras were something they were big on, right? Cobra meant loyalty, royalty, and so on and so forth. And in the Torah, in the Abrahamic religions, the snake is supposedly Satan and the devil, and so on and so forth. But again, the Abrahamic religions, they come from, I believe, the Sumerian epics about how the gods, they came here, they fashioned man, right? Enki was said to genetically have created man, and he had messed up on a lot of while he was creating man, he had a lot of like failed experiments, and then he finally fashioned man using their DNA. That's why if you look at humans today, we're different on the planet. There's no other species. Apes, none of them, they're not doing anything like we are today. Okay. And it says it in the Bible, it says it in the Abrahamic religion, that man was put here to rule over all of the other animals. Okay, sea, land, and wherever else that's on the earth. And yeah, we were created, but we were created for their agenda. We were created to mine gold for them. A lot of tribes in Africa, the Zulu tribe, the Dogon tribe, and a lot of many different other tribes, they talk about these tunnels on the ground where our people, we were once mining gold for them because they're planets in our solar system, Planet X, which NASA has already released their theories about Planet X being in our solar system, so on and so forth. Right? Their planet was their atmosphere was failing because they have a too much of a long, elongated circuit around the sun. Okay, because their planet is far beyond Pluto, but it still orbits around our sun because it's very large. Okay. But as they journey far from our sun, their atmosphere needs to be strong. It has to be very strong so it can keep a lot of their heat inside of their planet, okay? And so since their atmosphere was failing, these people, they needed to do something quick and fast. And that's when they decided to come here to Earth, right? Because they were advanced, right? Or advanced enough to come here from their planet to Earth to mine the gold, okay? And at first, they had their people, whom we call the Anunnaki today. Those were just the people here mining gold, right? They had their people doing it, but their people got so tired of the toil of the hard work, and they were complaining. And so, Enki, one of the generals, one of the people responsible for that mission, fashioned man, okay? And that's who I believe we call Yahweh today, the Most High. Because it is said in many different stories that Enki, right, he told Ziusudra, right, in the flood epic. You could search it up, the flood epic of Ziusudra that was written on the they have a name for those tablets, Sumerian tablets. The story basically is the same story of Noah, and you could see in the Indian tradition, in the Bhagavad, not the Bhagavad Gita, in the Vedas, right? You'll see there's a story of Manu and Matsya, and how Matsya, the incarnation of Vishnu, which is the preserver, right? He so happens to be the preserver because there's Brahman, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer, which is basically Anu, Enki, and Enlil, right? So you see the similarities today because Indians, the Indians in South India, they were once residing in Mesopotamia and Sumer, okay? But they migrated to South India. Anyway, yeah, you could see the story of Matsya and Manu and how Matsya basically told Manu to save his people, and he saved the seven Satparishi, or the seven wise sages, which in Sumer is so funny because they talk about Owanis, which is a fish-like man who had kind of helped civilization rebuild after the flood, so on and so forth. But they came from somewhere else, and they say that the seven Satparishi in the Hindu epic of the flood story came from the Ursa Major constellation, the seven stars depicted there, okay? So it's very interesting, a lot of interesting stuff to get into. And then now we're talking on the note of astrological things. And if you understand that our ancestors, they were well aware of these things. Look at how the pyramids of Giza were built. They were built to align with the three kings, right? Orion's belt, precisely. And the Sphinx gazes to the east, where the Messiah is said to come from in Israel, right? So these people, they were well hipped with things like astrology, the stars, all of those different kinds of things, but they didn't get this knowledge. They didn't just find this knowledge overnight, right? But I think it was given to them by a more advanced civilization that has created humans, okay? And now, you know, I was even looking into the story of Enoch, and I see how coincidentally reading Zechariah Sitchin's book, The Lost Book of Enki, right? Which basically tells you all about the Torah and the 7 days of creation and so on and so forth, and how Adam and Eve was created. Basically tells you that whole story, but it tells it to you, and with all of the other details and things that have been left out, okay, or have been hidden and lost from us. But it just made me think about the story of Enoch and how Enoch was said to have walked with God. He literally was abiding by God, and God took him, and he was walking with God. And it sounds to me, again, as our ancestors have been in contact with these beings for millennia, going back so many generations, right? We're still in contact with them today. A lot of people just don't know it. And I do believe that our government and different authoritative forces in the world are aware, right? But I believe, again, a lot of information about like the solar system and things like that were channeled to our people. Specifically, I want to say black people, and that's why we are the chosen people, because Enki's abode, he was said to reside in Africa in the Abzu, okay? And if you look at this cave called a cradle of mankind, you will see like all of these hominid species from so long ago. And what the archaeologists are wondering today is how did they get to what they call there's the star chamber, something like that. There's a name for the chamber. It's like the most bottom part of it. And the reason how I realized this is because I had a dream. I asked my higher self. I would usually always ask God, right, or Yahweh, or my higher self, or however you want to see it. What do I need to see before I go to bed? Like, or I would ask questions like specific things that I want to know, and the answers will come to me in my dream. And I had asked about the human story and how did it start, and through that, for that whole night, dreams of Africa kept coming to me. And I seen one in particular where I seen a skull on top of this cave, and the name that came to me is I think it was called the African Fruiting Chamber or something along those lines. And then I seen later on, maybe a few weeks later, that research of like a new species kin to man, a hominid species. They're like looking at this child's remains of his head, his skull in a different way, and it comes from South Africa, in that the cradle of mankind, in that cave that I was telling you about. But that's where Enki resided, and I believe that's where he was doing a lot of experiments on man, so on and so forth. And the story goes basically that Enlil did not like that man was fashioned in the image of God, did not like the fact that we had the royal blood of the Anunnakis. They did not, not the Anunnakis, but because the Anunnakis are the people that came from their planet to mine gold, but I'm just calling them the Anunnaki because that's the only name that I know them by. But these extraterrestrials, Enlil did not like the fact that we had their royal blood. Okay, royal blood, because it's theirs. Okay, he was a little selfish with that and wanted us to perish in the flood. That happened 12,000 years ago, which is the flood of Noah, where God basically warned Noah to build what's it called? A boat big enough to hold all the animals and all of his people, his family, and so on and so forth, to keep life going, really for the sake of man, for humans, because God saw that Noah was pure. Now, in the lost book of Enki, the story goes that Zeusudra, or Noah, was the son of Enki. Enki actually had intercourse with a human, a female, okay? And then they had a child, but that child was supposed to, he lied, and basically, what's her name? What's her name? Beth something, I forgot. Her name is mentioned in the Bible, but basically she was supposed to have bore a child for Anunnaki. Basically, it was supposed to be of an Anunnaki child. It wasn't supposed to be a human child, but Enki basically did what he did. He formed that human child, and this mystery emissary appeared in Enki's dream. Enki had a dream of him being told to save humankind, because he already made a promise with his brother that he would let mankind perish, and so he kind of sneakily went behind that and did his own thing so that mankind could continue on. Okay, so when you read like the further details behind the story from different scriptures, from different religions in the black kingdom, black community, you'll notice that the story gets like is really deep. Okay, so there's still a lot to learn, even on my behalf. As I said, I'm not really I'm not an archaeologist. I'm not out here in the field like studying bones and things like that, but I am somebody that do a lot of deep research. I'm that guy that looks up at the stars, question things, wonders, very curious, things like that. And for that purpose and for that reason, God has put me here to share information as a prophet. And I wouldn't tell you anything that I didn't feel or I didn't believe to be true in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I wouldn't lie to people in that way. But to get back on track and get back to the point, I feel like our black ancestors, no matter where you come from, our people, we have upheld and kept certain traditions, spiritual beliefs, practices, and things like that. That's why our ancestors were building pyramids. They were aware of sacred mathematics, right? The Mayans created the calendar, the base for the calendar that we use today, the 365 days in a year. Okay, these people, they were well learned, and if you look at a lot of their architecture, it aligns so well again with like the sun solstice, things like that. These people, they were learned. Okay, they make us look like children. They make us look like we got a lot to learn when it comes to architecture and things like that. These people, they had a lot of knowledge. I believe they had a lot of advanced technology, but the technology does not have to look like the kind of things that we're creating today. Okay, technology can be something as far as a pendulum. Technology just means something that makes something easier. Okay, it's advanced, it's an advancement kind of thing. So you have to kind of open your mind when we think about the kind of technology that our ancestors were using. Okay, these people, they were really smart, and I do believe that they were more closely connected to Enki, or the extraterrestrials that are responsible for men. Because I'll say not all of them are bad. Okay, you cannot look at it like they're all reptilians and they want us to perish, they want us to die, they want the worst for us. But I do believe a lot of them actually do want to see the upliftment, the advancement and things of mankind. Okay, I do feel like they're still around. I do still feel like they're closely watching us and things like that, waiting for the right time to come in. Because you got to understand, these people, they have long lifespans. Okay, Adam and his the generations of his lineage far back, right? If you read it in Genesis, they live very long lives. Methuselah lived about like 900 years. Adam lived about 900 years. And though, like, from as the generations went down, you started to see them live less and less long. But they were naturally living very long lives, as proclaimed. And even if you look at the Hindu passages of time, okay, if you look at their yugas, right, for the cycles of the earth, like as far as consciousness and where we were at, if we were at a golden age, if we were at an age of destruction, so on and so forth, you'll see that they say men were living a lot longer in the Sat Yuga than they are now in the Kali Yuga, where we're in the age of destruction. Okay, things like that, so on and so forth. And it's funny because their understanding of the cycles of Earth is ridiculously on point. Like if you read in the Vedas, there's a scripture that says basically says utter praise to Brahma and so on and so forth, and he says talks about the number, and the numbers is 432, and they say something about one of his body parts being 7 or great number. And if you add 7 zeros behind that, that's 4,320,000,000 years. And if you search how old Earth is on Google, by many different researchers or what may be, it's widely agreed upon that the Earth is 4.5 billion years. But I think it's 4.3 billion years. I think our ancestors, again, they were well aware of um, mathematics, because mathematics is a language, and they studied a lot the universe and things like that. I won't even give all credit to our alien creators, if you want to call them that, but I'll also give credit to our ancestors, because I feel like they were smart enough to uphold and keep certain traditions and things like that, and use their knowledge for good to continue to advance and things like that. Okay, but this is a really big topic, and I'm just continuously finding myself um, just like getting off topic and going into so many different things. I feared this video would be like this, but as I said, I'm just channeling and sharing what I feel. Okay, I even wrote down in my book earlier what I would talk about, and said I would try and keep focus with that. But when you're channeling, who knows? You don't know the kinds of things that's going to come through. Okay, but I guess I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. I just want to wrap it up with a story to open your minds and to share my concern, right? So if you look at, open your Bible, or if you look into history and you search King Herod, if you're going to look through your Bible, I suggest that you look through Matthew. Go to the book of Matthew, and just on the first chapter, okay, on the first chapter, it talks about King Herod, right? And I just had a dream about King Herod before I even knew what he was, who he was, what he did, so on and so forth. And I had this dream about like 2 nights ago. And in a white crystal, a clear quartz that somebody gave me, I looked through it. I seen this amethyst tower that had like a amethyst plate underneath, and I seen in it a man holding this man in an arm lock, and I seen a snake going down their leg or something like that. I didn't know what it was trying to depict, and then I seen the name Herod, right? And so I searched it up when I woke up, and I saw who he was, and I learned about how he basically, when he knew Jesus would be born, because of the three kings in the sky and how they were aligned and so on and so forth, he ordered, he basically went around Bethlehem and Jerusalem massacring, killing babies, all babies under the age of 2, so on and so forth, just massacring people, to make sure that, I don't know if I said Jesus. If I did, forgive me, please, because I'm so used to, again, the Christian doctrine, the Catholic doctrine, because that's what I grew up on, and I'm slowly breaking out of it as I learn. And so it's going to take me some time to get used to the actual terms, Yeshua. But basically, King Herod did not want Yeshua to be born, because he knew he was the Messiah, and he knew that he wouldn't get to rule over the Jews, okay? And so to see how, like, certain people in history, they have these different agendas, how in the Atlantic slave trade, right, which is more recent, these Arabian people, and not the real Arabs, the people that we call Arabs today, okay, how they came from Europe, so on and so forth, and how they enslaved our people, and they stole our identity and call themselves today Jews and Arabs. It's kind of mind-boggling. But as I read scriptures through the Torah, as I read scriptures through the New Testament, it helps me to become more and more aware of what is taking place beyond our eyes, because again, a lot of things, they have been lied about, okay? And so I hope you take something from this today, and I look forward to posting more about these things. Next time I'll be more grounded. The energy has been a lot today. I've kind of been excited about making this video. I know you guys probably never really see me so excited when I'm talking, or so jittery. Maybe you might even think I come across a little bit anxious, but I said I would get through. I have to make this video, and so I'm glad that I did. But I'm not going to continue to ramble on. I think we've covered and touched basis on a lot today, so I'll just let that simmer in for you guys and allow you guys to do your own inner research, and also external research. And I'll see you guys more and more content that I post on Instagram, or wherever I decide to post. If I make a Twitter or whatever I do, wherever you find me, you will see more from me. You will hear more